All right, welcome back to another edition of the Forza Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Charles Inferna. We're at Forza Athletics. We equip coaches and athletes with the tools they seek out in order to achieve their unique and specific goals. And we are recording this on Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. This one's going out a little late because we were home for February break, and despite what some may think, it's a little crazy trying to sneak away for 10 minutes and record something with 4 little people running around. So here we are. So this will be out later this evening. And I posted a question on the Instagrams about, recording a podcast, and if anybody had any questions about anything. And we got a really good question, and that'll basically take up this episode because I think it warrants sufficient time. And the question was, how can I make a successful transition from indoor track to outdoor track without losing anything, without losing gains or whatever type of, let's say, momentum we were able to acquire during the indoor season? And that question came from Brian, and that's a great question, and it's one that I wish I may have had an answer to when I was an athlete myself. So there's a couple different angles here I'm going to approach this with. So indoor season for a majority of athletes is coming to a close this weekend. It's regionals, last chance qualifiers for indoor nationals. And next weekend is D3 indoor nationals, followed by spring break for most colleges. And then we transition directly to the outdoor season. So for some athletes, they will have maybe like a week or two break between indoor nationals and the start of the outdoor season. And I remember that was a little tricky with Lewis way back when, and even Julia, because really we would have indoor nationals, a week off for spring break, which, stuff happens, and really can't control what the athletes, do over that time. And then we would immediately transition into an outdoor meet with very little time to recoup and recharge. So the first piece of this is advice or just a suggestion would be to sit down and think about what went well for the indoor season. So if we're looking at it from a mental approach or mental component here, psychological, what went well? Did the season live up to my expectations? What were my expectations for the season? What did I think was going to happen, and what actually happened? And think about what you could have made the season a little better, let's say. So if you're a 100-meter runner and you're trying to qualify for regionals, but you missed it by, 2 or 3 seconds, let's say, what do you think you could have done to help compensate for those 2 or 3 seconds? So we're looking at what went well. Number one, our expectations leading into the season. What was our reality compared to those expectations? And what do we think we could have done a little better in order to achieve whatever goals or aspirations we had for the season? That's where I would start, and I would encourage anybody to kind of reflect back and think about how their indoor season went, and where they could make some growth, if you will. Number two, I would look at the physical component. So how does my body feel? Did I keep track of my nutrition and rest and recovery during the indoor season? If I didn't, or if you didn't, I would start, because that's going to be a good way to hold you accountable for the upcoming outdoor season, because then you can kind of turn back the pages, peel back the onion, whatever whatever cliche you want to incorporate. But then you can kind of see, okay, 2 nights before meets, I got 8 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I felt really good on Friday, and then Saturday I had a really good meet. Okay, so what did I do those 48 hours beforehand? Got good sleep, went to the trainers. This is what I did for my workout. this is how my lifting session went, and this is how my track meet went. If you don't keep track, or you don't have, I don't want to say the capability. I mean, everybody can keep notes in their phones or write down pen and pencil. But think about physically, like, did you do everything that you could have? And if you did, that's great. Keep doing that as you start transitioning to the outdoor season. If you're getting your adequate rest, that's awesome. If you're getting adequate recovery, that's great. If you're taking care of yourself by eating properly, that's fantastic. Keep doing those things. Whatever worked for you during the indoor season, I encourage you to continue doing the same thing for the outdoor season. There's no need to like reinvent the wheel or anything, especially it's so quick, right? Today's March 1st. We have a meet at the end of March. We have a meet every weekend in April, and then the semester's over. So conference championships for most are like that first, second weekend in May, and then that's it. So from now until then, really there's 2 months. So we have like 9 weeks maybe left of the semester as far as academics go. If you throw in spring break, there's 10 weeks left maybe of the semester. And it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't, right? So it's like 70 days until our outdoor conference championships. And a lot, good and bad, can happen in between that. So to keep the momentum going, look back. What worked well? If things didn't go well, then, you know, have a conversation with your coach, or look back and, you know, reflect and say, hey coach, you know, I really noticed when this was happening, I performed really, really well at meets. If one of my athletes had a conversation with me about that, I would be over the moon, because it would let me know that over the course of the season that we've been working together, that they listened, that they paid attention, that they were really interested in what I had to say, as far as like keeping track and making sure that they were you know, doing what they could in order to give themselves the best opportunity to be successful. So I hope that answered the question. If not, when it goes live, please ask another one, and I will be more than happy to reframe and go into more detail. But thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Forza Athletics Life and Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Inferna, and have a great day.